terrorism and homeland security program at U.S. Army Fort.
Do we have an emergency? And the answer is absolutely, we do.
Judge Roger Rodriguez, the coordinator of the terrorism and homeland security program at U.S. Army Fort Bliss, stands firm
to stop the cartels moving north.
Do we have an emergency? And the answer is absolutely, we do.
Roger Rodriguez is the coordinator of the terrorism and homeland security program at the U.S. Army's Fort Bliss in El Paso. The Mexican cartels make billions of dollars and have a liking for savage violence. They have become a national security threat.
Now what we've seen is that there really is no difference between a terrorist organization and a cartel.
Yeah, I'm speaking up for Richard, put respect on his name. Gold Star fan fighting, but it's feeling like a game. They twisting truth, seeing lies in court hall. Spencer playing both sides, let the justice hammer fall. Got the law on alert, watching moves that he made. While he's in it for the money, got the facts in the shade. Recordings drop, now the truth's on replay. It's a legal chessboard, but we ain't here to play. This a knock knock, yeah, the big broad truth. For every soldier, for our son and the youth. Misconducting the system, breaking down walls, but we're here to rise up, hear our justice call. Got tapes on replay, he's confessing the scheme. Switching facts in federal state court in between. What he say to the judge, what he said to the crowd. In this case of lies, only the truth speaks loud. Frightening whistleblowers trying to silence the sound. But we're armed with the facts and we're standing our ground. For Cruz, just his victim, for Richard we won't rest. Holding Spencer to account, we demand no less. It's the knock knock, yeah, the big door truth. For every soldier, for our son and the youth. Misconducting the system, breaking down walls, but we're here to rise up, hear our justice call. Got tapes on replay, he's confessing the scheme. Switching facts in federal state court in between. What he say to the judge, what he said to the crowd. In this case of lies, only the truth speaks loud. Frightening whistleblowers trying to silence the sound. But we're armed with the facts and we're standing our ground. For Cruz, just as victims, for Richard.
This is what AI is good for.
Sir, step back on the sidewalk. We are trying to arrest a violent criminal.
Sure thing, officer.
Good. Stay right there.
That's all it would have taken.
President Trump is back now at 25. The real law, with the borders on. President Trump was right all along. There's a Trump dance, now a song.
Do we have an emergency? And the answer is absolutely.
Hi, everybody. Okay, that's a lot to unpack, too, and I really want to go through the James Montoya video. I think I have it, and I might do that tonight. I'm sorry that I'm coming on so late. It can't be helped. Lots to do. Things are really coming together, and we have to legally respond to all the things that we are finding. And that's why, our days are really, really full. And plus, there's a lot of people that want to talk to us. We're talking to government officials and law enforcement. And so it's about time, right? It's all in God's timing. Really, it really is. And we never, expected God to reveal this much, right? This much corruption. So I'll explain this video that I put together today of Alex Pretty. And I hope I'm saying his name right. And R.I.P., rest in peace, because he did lose his life. Acting, what we say in Ireland, acting the maggot, right? Acting the maggot. But I think it was deeper than that. I think it was deeper, and I think that what's behind it is much deeper. because that's what evidence indicates. So let's get started. 2008 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss, because he was a whistleblower. He was under whistleblower protection, but the duty, the guard did not show up. That day, and Richard was forcibly removed from the barracks and taken down to the arms room that had without holding back on any kind of expense. I mean, just open checkbook, totally open checkbook. They renovated that arms room because that's where Richard lost his life. It was brutal, big fight, absolutely. Our word is that one of the perpetrators had to have emergency dental surgery because Richard bashed in his face. But Richard was outnumbered and he lost his life, and his body was stolen off of Fort Bliss because the director of emergency services at that time, Thomas Kane, was in on it, and protected these perpetrators, these traitors, and him himself is a traitor, and he needs to be brought up on those charges because, Fort Bliss, you're supposed to be secure on Fort Bliss, and there are so many cameras and everything, but he protected them and allowed them to steal Richard's body off of Fort Bliss. And you'd ask, why are they doing that? Well, this area in El Paso, they were flesh peddling. They were absolutely flesh peddling. They had connections to mortuary operations and the funeral home fraud, and also because of Vanessa Guillen. Vanessa Guillen's body was found at Fort Hood. The thing about Fort Hood is they weren't flesh peddling. On the border with the cartel, they had disposal, profiting, body disposal, profiting for, cartel disposal. And so it got very nasty down there. And then during COVID, it got very profitable to recycle bodies for unidentified migrants, collecting on humanitarian aid. And you see that in Minneapolis, that there's, when you give a certain door, like humanitarian aid, we want to give humanitarian aid for any unidentified migrant, that they will be buried properly, right? Or they were saying that they were going to cremate. Through all of this and everything that we know about this cremation and this funeral fraud, I don't recommend cremation to anybody. No, I don't recommend cremation to anyone. When you're getting construction ash or pulverized construction material back, and they're telling you that that is your loved one, and then behind your back they are letting your loved one pile up in a rat infested mold, just absolutely disgusting place, hell on earth, really hell on earth. That's the only way I can describe it. No, I wouldn't recommend cremation at all, and I would be, in this day and age, from what we have learned through this whole funeral fraud thing. And they need to pay for what they did. They really do. I mean, 400, over 400 bodies at one time piled up in that one Plenitude crematorium. And they're advertising and everything, and they're living the high life in El Paso with businesses and access to to County Judge Samaniago and the FBI, and access to our intelligence database, especially the narcotics database. They don't have to ask for FOIA. They have access. And of course, they get visas. They get visas to live in El Paso. And yeah, I don't understand why our State Department is giving them visas, but I understand the alliance between the El Paso cartel and the Mexican cartels. And of course, the State Department then has a big red flag stuck in it because they're the ones giving the visas, right? They're the ones giving the visas. So who's ever in charge of all of that in the U.S. State Department there in Juarez, that needs to be scrutinized. And you see what I mean? I just talking. It's like, okay, we have to file, because we are identifying where the problem is. And absolutely the problem is with the State Department. And, Marco Rubio, he has several hats. So, but maybe he's on it. Maybe he's on it because it was this administration that raided the Plenitude Crematorium with the Fiscalia, which is the Mexican law enforcement side. Then, of course, they have this system there, and that's why Richard's remains were trafficked. And because of La Diabla, they had the organ harvesting system right there. It's not unknown that many of the migrants coming up, they paid with one of their kidneys, right? With one of their kidneys. They have scars to prove it. And that's all. You can find that online. So they were absolutely organ harvesting, and because of that, there's other information and evidence that really indicates that it's a huge possibility that they organ harvested our son, and they disposed of him there. Like at a Plenitude Crematorium or at Plenitude Crematorium. And that's why there is so much obstruction in identifying those remains that they found there. They were a lot of them were over 5 years old, those remains. And so, this is, when I said flesh peddling, I mean, they were really flesh peddling. And of course, even with babies and with human trafficking and everything. And we have presented that day in and day out, saying this day in and day out. And it can't be said enough because we want our son's remains. We know that they have our son's remains over in Mexico. We have so many confirmations on that we want our son. Okay. And, it is a vicious negotiation for our son's remains. That's what this is. And if anyone can do it, it is President Trump. He knows all about vicious negotiations, and he knows about negotiations. And with everything that we have discovered and found out, or the curtain's been pulled back and we've got this inside look into the one world order, or the new world order, I would call it the one world order. We've gotten this look at it, and it is a vicious negotiation because this Bible story comes up where, in the field there is wheat and tares, and God tells us to keep going, because he will divide the wheat from the tares from the wheat, because it is just really, really hard to do. And I think that's where the frustration is with President Trump's administration, because he is absolutely trying to move forward. And I guess, help God to divide the the wheat from the tares, and it's really difficult. And I'm not talking about the illegal migrants, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them. These are people here in the United States illegally. I'm not talking about them. It's very clear that they all need to go. And even the good ones, even the very good ones, they need to go and they need to come in legally. And I'll tell you why. Because there are vultures, there are wolves, there are a, a whole a whole organized criminal network that are ready and that are active, and they want to pounce on anyone that's illegally in this country. They will. You saw that with Mario Ortiz Ceraldi, right? He was supposed to be the immigration lawyer for these people, the attorney for these people, for these women that were illegally in the country from Cuba, and he took advantage of them. He absolutely took total advantage, had his way with them in a hotel, and took them back to their captors, right? That also had their way with them, and to pay back for being in this country. So there is all kinds of exploitation and abuses that are done to people that haven't committed any crime but being illegally in this country, because that's a crime, right? But that is being taken advantage of. So people that are wanting to do good things, they're in danger. They're in danger, and that's why we have laws, right? To give them freedom so that they can come over legally and live without fear of being blackmailed, of being exploited, and all of that. And I want to really stress that. And so this video that I played of Alex Preddy, we looked him up right away when it happened. And if you don't know, he got in a very big tussle with ICE agents. He did not comply. Okay, he did not comply, and he was carrying a weapon and ammunition, which is illegal for him. And I'll tell you why that's illegal for him. Because we're big Second Amendment people. But when you go to an event or action where you intend to commit felony crimes, you forfeit your right to carry a weapon. Okay, you forfeit that. That's the law. You cannot go somewhere with the intent of committing a felony crime and open carry, uh, closed carry, right? A weapon and ammunition. Okay, you can't do it. And he had a record of going to these events or these operations. I believe they're operations because they're proven to be operations now with the signal. Going to these operations where they are monitoring ICE, spotting ICE, notifying um, the the imposter protesters, because they're not really protesters, because it's not grassroots, right? It's not grassroots. This is organized crime. This is organized crime to create terror. Okay. And he went there and even said it, that he was egging them on so that they would assault him. And of course, he committed crimes before the tragic event that he was shot and lost his life. But, he was up to no good. And we looked him up, and we're right. Okay, we're right. Um, and those groups are being revealed now. his RN license had expired. Okay, that was a really huge indication for us because then how is he going to pay for where he lives, which is nice. How is he going to pay for it if he doesn't have a job? Who is supporting him? And then also being part of the VA, that was very interesting to us. And his associates and who he lived with for decades and that is also very interesting. And that will come out. That will come out. Just like this video came out of him double kicking the light on the ICE vehicle and breaking the backlight of the ICE vehicle by kicking it and then spitting at them. I mean, he was really uh, teasing. Um, you don't tease a bull, and you don't tease law enforcement officers in this country because we all know, every last one of us knows. If you don't know, you haven't been paying attention, that our law enforcement in this country has infiltrators and bad actors in it. And so you don't want to tease a group of that they're not really trustworthy. I mean, President Trump is trying to make them trustworthy, but we don't trust the FBI. We don't trust the El Paso Police Department. Our police department is sure not trustworthy, okay, here in South Carolina. It is not trustworthy. The law enforcement, even our military, is not trustworthy. They just have, they need to earn it back, and they have destroyed the trust, right? And we have given them everything. I mean, I'm thinking I need my money back, right? I need my tax money back. And I should get it back because of the problems that we have with our government and the way it's run and all the fraud. And that brings me to the point that President Trump has now assigned a man with a really nice Irish name. I don't know what his history is. Ireland has. Let me see what his name is. I posted it up. Um, there it is. Oh yeah, that's really good too. Okay, so President Trump has nominated Colin McDonald. That's a good, very good Irish name. Or is that Scottish? Is McDonald Scottish? That might be Scottish. As the first ever assistant AG for national fraud enforcement to stop billions in taxpayers' theft by fraudsters. Well, we have fraudsters in our case, right? We have fraudsters that took from the Walmart victims funds hundreds of thousands of dollars illegally, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. That fund, and I think probably other money, was fraudulently taken. That was over $12 million for the Walmart victims fund. And so, but we know that there was fraud involved, and we have the receipts. It's 100% that there was fraud involved. So, and of course, the fraudster of Danae Katzen, she's on the 10 most wanted list, and her connection with this group of fraudsters. And the Walmart mass shooting case and Fort Bliss. Don't forget, she connects Fort Bliss. Her husband was 143 ADA, Jonathan Ambrose. And so that was Richards. That was Richards. Uh, it's going to be very interesting because Richard was reporting on how the base is tied to the Walmart shooting, right? And so with these fraudsters being investigated, you don't know what else is going to come out. So this is really, really good news, very good news. And of course, President Trump had his cabinet meeting today. If you haven't watched that, it was really amazing to watch, absolutely amazing. And yes, I'm a big fan of President Trump. I don't want to lose my all of my trust and all of my humanity, um, and he has done some absolutely amazing, amazing. There's nobody like him, right? There's nobody like him, and so and we're not looking for perfection. We absolutely know there has to be compromise, right? We were willing to compromise right there to Schaumburg Abbey as soon as we arrived in El Paso. We were like, just we know something really bad happened to Richard. We knew it was foul play, and we said, "Look, um, just be straight with us," and we're willing to um, to not go to the press, because we knew it was the military and everything. Yeah. So there are, but that's all gone. That is just water under the bridge. Now I want front row seats to see his accountability because he missed his chance. Um, he missed his chance, and I really hope that they arrest him soon. That Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, he needs to be court-martialed so bad. He is just, wow, what a traitor. He's such a traitor. I just can't even express to you, along with Veronica Escobar and Beto O'Rourke and General McConville and General Garrett and General Mealy and General Stewart, well, Major General Stewart. I think they gave him a star. I can't believe it, because we watched him turn into an org right in front of us. I mean, what a sad, sad story. We saw him make a deal with the devil right in front of us, y'all, and we saw his transformation, his physical transformation from making a deal with the devil. We saw that in General James Stewart. We saw it. And I just don't know how you can take that kind of poison out of your heart after you have made a deal. I don't know. So, what has come up? I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on right now, especially um, the loss of life in the DA's office in El Paso is a very big deal to us. That's Peter Melendez. He was an investigator for the DA's office, and the DA's office is doing some really, really shady things because Montoya is a fake DA, right? So, of course, they're going to be doing shady things like creating a little police force, their own little police force, 27 that they deputize to monitor, to police the courthouse, I guess, to keep the judges in line, to keep the witnesses in line, to protect Mr. 2028 stamp. So 27 are protecting Mr. 2028 stamp, um, which is Montoya. And I want to show this picture of Montoya, and we give all the receipts. And one of the big documents that is in that video I played yesterday, which I probably should play tonight again. I don't know. It's so late. It's after 1 o'clock in the morning. Um, is the application for appointed counsel for Patrick Crucius, where he signs it Pat C. That is a really, really important document because it was approved early in the morning, just right after 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday on the 4th of August, okay, 2019. The Walmart mass shooting was August 3rd, 2019 in the afternoon. Well, in the morning, yeah. Um, but it happened all through that day, right? And he wasn't then arrested until the afternoon or what, 11? Yeah, it was still in the morning. Um, but uh, but the appointed counsel, the application for appointed counsel is to see how much money. It's a financial inquiry of the person, of the defendant, to see if he needs appointed counsel. Patrick Crucius, of course, is the son of the trained under the disciples of John of God, the baby, the farmer that farmed babies, um, that Oprah was promoting, right? That has been arrested for the worst type of crimes against women and children and having a farm, right? Um, and this is, John Brian Crucius, right? A therapist, connected to John of God, right? But if you look at their house and everything, I mean, they have some money. They have some money. And that application for appointed counsel for Patrick Crucius says he has zero expenses, zero income, zero. They didn't even bother to put any kind of money there, not even $10. And then they told the public that he had bought this rifle and ammunition, and that he had driven all the way down from Allen, Texas in a car with car insurance, with Wi-Fi, with a computer that needed gas. Um, and then he bought oranges. I guess he didn't buy the oranges. Did he, steal the oranges? He had zero in his cup, right? He had zero money in his cup. And this is what they did at, just past 5 a.m. in the morning. You can see the exact time on there. But it's a Sunday morning when, really the courthouse is very empty. And this document allowed the lawyers, the defense, an open checkbook. Okay, an open checkbook, meaning they got permission to charge the taxpayers whatever they wanted. Millions and millions of dollars. Normally it's like $20,000 for appointed counsel, maybe a little bit more for, a severe case. But yeah, so he got his defense on the taxpayers' dime, millions and millions of dollars, because it was delayed by really the most corrupt judge in El Paso, and I think he can compete with the whole of the United States, and that's Judge Medrano. He is the most corrupt individual. Talk about making a deal with the devil. I mean, maybe he is like the brother of the devil. I don't know. He is so corrupt. And Yeah, so that is very important in that video, and I make another music video that has that on there that really highlights that. But it it has to do with you, right? It has to do with us because we're the ones paying the taxes. And this is absolute fraud. And so I think President Trump could look into this, right? With his new DOJ fraud detector, right? Fraud detector. Um, it is really something that is just disgusts me when I learned about it and knew what it was. But it was the application for appointed counsel, and Patrick Crucius signed it. Pat C. Yeah, very, very fitting. Very fitting. So let's turn this on, and I want to address Montoya a little bit too. Let's see here. Let's see if it's up here. Yeah. Um, so here's Montoya. His name is James Bonneau, and he changed his name to James Bonneau Montoya. His name was James Andrew Bonneau. Um, and But because he wanted the Mexican vote, he then changed his name to James Bonneau Montoya. But still, he would have to then campaign with that name, and he didn't. He just campaigned with James Montoya, and that looks like a little technicality, but it's illegal for him. It's deceptive. Um, to the electorate, right? So this is the lawyer here that seems to be buddy buddy with James Montoya, the way James Montoya is treating him with really soft gloves. But his name is Mario Ortiz Soroldi, and he's the one that took advantage of illegal migrants that, weren't criminal except for that they were in the country illegally. And he took advantage of them. He had his way with them, and then he returned them back to their captors. He's really a disgusting human being. And Bonneau Montoya, being a fake DA that he is, because he is a fake DA, he's impersonating a DA. He's impersonating a public official. That's what he's doing, which is illegal. And collecting money off of it, which is also fraud. So I need to file that one too. I need to file that one too with this new fraud detector that President Trump created. Um, so Soraldi is a really good example of vulnerability of our system when it comes to illegal aliens. It's not made to have illegal migrants in our country because they are really, really vulnerable to these fraudsters and to the predators. And of course, Soraldi is a predator, okay? And of course, the DA, right? You can't count on him. He's a fake. He's a fraud. He's a fraudster. And then this other David Frodsham, he is, they just look so much alike. They just look so much alike. They just seem like they have the same parents. That's what and they score so good together, when it comes to facial recognition. But this David Frodsham, he's from the Fort Huachuca area, and he was military. He was sent back to the United States for reasons. He was allowed to um, um, have children, adopt children, um, and he abused them for over 10 years. And it's just terrible, terrible in Sierra Vista, Fort Huachuca, in Arizona, which is very, very tight knit to Fort Bliss and El Paso. So I just think that they look so much alike. And the next thing is this picture. Um, that was posted on the Facebook on one of the chats, and it's when I saw this picture, a lot of people go, "Oh my gosh, that's Tyler Robinson, right? That's Tyler Robinson. It looks just like Tyler Robinson with Erika Kirk." I don't know who he is. I don't. But what I noticed is, oh my gosh, that looks like Patrick Crusius. And I did do uh maybe I can't show it to you really well, but you can see that Patrick Crusius looks so much like him. Oh my God. Because I've looked at so many pictures of Patrick Crusius, and I've kept up with the Walmart case until it was closed down, right? Until it was closed down by that stupid, oh my gosh, that very criminal plea deal. Which is very criminal. But of course, Tyler Robinson looks very much like him. But Patrick Crusius too. Oh my goodness. And so I put these through the facial recognition, and they are scoring really high. So 79% is high, right? It's high. At 80%, they're absolutely and this was just a quick thing, so I wonder with pictures when they're the same age and stuff. But but yeah, then they're, definitely like family. But I don't know if my daughters score that high with one another, and I know they're family. So it's really eerie, and I would like to know who this is. Is this really Tyler Robinson? Is this an AI generated? Is this Photoshopped? Is this a real picture? I would like to know because it was very creepy for us, and I think it could be very important. I think it could be very important. So, yeah, so thank you everybody for that. Um, there it is. I am pleased to nominate Colin McDonald to serve as the first ever Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement. That's amazing. That's a new division at the Department of Justice. Um, which I created to catch and stop fraudsters that have been stealing from the American people. And I think that's James Bonneau. I think James Bonneau has been stealing because he's collecting a paycheck and he is not legitimate. He's and then deputizing 27 peace officers that are collecting on that, and he has no authority to deputize any peace officer. So I think that is really, good for. I'm so glad for this new national fraud enforcement. I'm going to have to really practice that to get good at it. So then the other thing is which is very important to our case because of course we have been letting everyone know that the Walmart mass shooting was indeed an operation to target. They fabricated a fake narrative to target President Trump and to hurt his 2020 reelection. This was a absolutely a political operation, and you know. And that doesn't make a lot of people happy. They question. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter to us. We look at the evidence, right? We look at the evidence because we want our son's remains, right? We look when we want justice, right? And we want to honor God. This is what we're doing here. And in order to get those remains, which is like going to be a miracle, then it has to come from God, right? And so we have to tell the truth. And the evidence confirms that the Walmart mass shooting narrative was used again. It was a lie. Patrick Crucius has major family in El Paso. He's not a white supremacist. So all of the narrative that came out of there, it was weaponized to a fake story that was weaponized against President Trump and to affect the 2020 election. And now we have another that indication that President Trump cares about the 2020 election, the election fraud, right? The election fraud. And we do too. We do too, because the Walmart mass shooting case is intertwined with Richard's case. Um, so the FBI raids Fulton County, Georgia election center. The probe is reportedly related to the 2020 election. So that was just so interesting to watch today. I mean, if you have nothing to hide, then why are you so upset? When something like this happens, they were just pretty upset. So it was very interesting. Um, of course, Judge Roger Rodriguez, do we have a problem here? Yes, we do. And he said that in 2019, he was absolutely um, calling out the border. Um, so I think that is, there's just so much, and I can go on and on and on. But I just wanted to make sure that you saw the picture, and that if you can identify him, he does look like Tyler Robinson, really. That would be so creepy, right? That would be so interesting. But that picture needs to be scrutinized for AI manipulation or Photoshop. Um, so we have a lot of things that are going to be breaking in the next couple days too, besides all the stuff that just happens to break that we report on. And it is um, it is jaw dropping, but um, we're filing, and after documenting everything that we have found, and now with this live stream, I have more things to jot down and file against. Um, and we ask that you share, that you like and you share, because we are a country that is of the people, for the people, by the people. And so if you can like and share, that would really help us out to get the word out there to everybody. Once everybody understands what's going on, um, I think that there will be a lot of brain power that can figure out a good solution to a lot of these problems that we have. But the discussion needs to be on the table, and we need to come together as Americans. And what they did to a U.S. Army soldier, and Richard's not the only one, um, just cannot be. But he's special. He's special. Um, he's very special. I mean, I'm his mom. I'm allowed to say that. He's a total hero, y'all. So, if you can share and like, that would be really appreciative. I didn't even chime in to see um, if I had any comments. So let's look real quick before I go. I'm sorry I didn't. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for your prayers and your love. And Anicia, thank you so much. You're my guardian angel, you right? You're my guardian angel. So thank you so much. And